I'm the Reverend Jeff Duncan. I'm the Director of Mission and Ministry at Lutherans for Life. The host tonight for Life Live, as most of the time. For Life Live does have a web page archive on our lutheransforlife.org website. I've posted that in the chat section. It is lutheransforlife.org/for-life-live-archive/. Or you can just go up into the search box of our website and put in For Life Live archive, and it should be the first thing that pops up. So I hope that if you have any questions about past events and you would like to use them for your life teams or your life chapter programs, they're an excellent way to watch something for an hour, hour and a half, and then have discussion about them with your life chapters and life teams. You can also find our future events on our calendar page. If you go to lutheransforlife.org, scroll down to the bottom, the calendar is on there, and we try to put in future events on that calendar page. By way of advertising, I'm going to tell you about our next session coming up on the first Tuesday in June. And let me pull that up again. What is that? That is June 1st. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to make a bad comment. So it's June 1st, first Tuesday in June, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, or as some would say, proper time. It's going to be called Procreation, the First Blessing, Purpose, and Command. I'm going to read you a little bit of what Pastor Joseph Signori says about this. What is the first blessing God gives? What is the first purpose of marriage? What is the first command? Procreation, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, Genesis 1:28. But too often procreation is not seen as a first when people, including Christians, look at sexuality, marriage, or general good living. But what if procreation is still God's first blessing, purpose, and command for humanity, even today? And so in summary, Pastor Joseph is going to be looking at deciding to have or not have more children is a conversation that too often centers on the desires and devices of the couple. But what if we begin the discussion instead with God's purpose and plan? Procreation being the first blessing is a blessing, not a burden. In the beginning, God made man, male and female, in his image and blessed them to be co-creators with him. And it's in man's nature to reflect the creativity of God. From buildings and bridges to symphonies and sculptures, man desires to make things that are good and beautiful, but there is no bigger or better way that man mirrors the Creator than procreating children according to God's design and training them up in the will of God. Imagine that amazing invitation that God gives husbands and wives to join him in his ongoing and eternal work of creation. Fallen human nature tries to be like God in ways God has forbidden. That always and only leads to disastrous results. But through godly procreation, man and woman actually become like God in the original way God intended, creating more people in his and our image to join in exercising rightful dominion over all creation. Pastor Joseph is also going to look at procreation, the first purpose of marriage, being a primary purpose, not an optional add-on for marriage. Genesis gives two primary purposes: procreation in chapter 1 and the love union in chapter 2. The two creation accounts complement, not compete against each other. So Christians are to similarly elevate equally the two original purposes of marriage. However, procreation is commonly pushed to the back seat while love drives the marriage. But biblically, procreation and love union go hand in hand, naturally joined in the one flesh embrace of husband and wife. Sadly, when church and state no longer see procreation as essential to the meaning of marriage, the door is open to all manner of deviations and devaluations of sexuality and life. And finally, Pastor Joseph is going to cover procreation, the first command. While emphasizing that procreation is a blessing, we also need to be clear that the Bible also speaks of it as a command. In fact, it is the first command God gives, and it is the only command given pre-fall that remains in effect post-fall. The command is explicitly given at creation and immediately after the flood. However, the force of the command is seen throughout the Old Testament. The New Testament does offer an alternative to marriage, celibacy. It also infuses marriage with additional meaning, representing the relationship between Christ and the church. And even so, it does not repeal procreation as the first blessing, purpose, and command. God restores, not replaces, his good creation. So Pastor Signori has received his BA in theology and theological languages from Concordia University, Chicago, formed for pastoral ministry at Concordia Seminary, St. Louis, graduated 2013 with his MDiv, was pastor at St. Paul's Lutheran in Pomona, California, and in 2018 was called to Our Redeemer, Ocala, Florida, and is currently their pastor. And his hobby, if you didn't understand that from this topic, is to research, write, and speak on the ethics of contraception. And Pastor Joseph is married to Anna with children Danny 5, Titus 3, and Julia, due soon to be born. So that will be coming up June 1st. We hope that you'll register. I'll have a link up on our Facebook page through our communications director, Lo Hybe, in this next week. All right, as we prepare tonight, our presentation, let's reflect a little bit on just what Lutherans for Life does. From our website, the mission of Lutherans for Life is to equip Lutherans to be gospel-motivated voices for life. In this day and age of sound bites and cliche phrases, we, Lutherans for Life, communicate clearly that death is not an acceptable, God-pleasing way to deal with the problems of life, and that there is a better way, the gospel. Lutherans for Life applies this good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ to sanctity of life issues, making known Jesus as the Son of God and Savior of all who can help and make a difference in people's lives. The life issues of our time are much more than controversial political issues. They're grave spiritual issues. They assault the creator of life and they insult the Lord of life. So our work equips Lutherans that they can be these positive, life-affirming voices, upholding the truth of the God-given value of human life, both in the local congregation as well in society through your local community. And through this work, we, as an organization, are growing the number of voices across the globe, voices that spread this joyful message that every human life is created and gifted by God, that every human life is someone for whom our Lord Jesus Christ has died, and that every human life is someone whom the Holy Spirit desires to call into an eternal relationship with him for eternity. We believe this message changes hearts, and it's those who have changed hearts that change society. But only God, working through the power of his gospel, can change those hearts. And that is why the gospel is what motivates all that we do at Lutherans for Life. St. Paul shared these words: all scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for corrections, and for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be complete, equipped for every good work. This is the whole purpose of our organization at Lutherans for Life, to equip. We equip with the gospel. We equip with the gospel and accomplish the good works that God desires each man and woman of God to be engaged for the benefits of their neighbor who needs them. Lutherans for Life believes that when we apply this gospel, the words of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection for the forgiveness of the world's sins, that it is this gospel that will make a difference in the lives of the people who are daily making decisions on life issues in their own life. To that end, let us pray. Look mercifully, O Lord, we implore you, on the afflictions of your people. Let not our sin destroy us, nor hopelessness overwhelm us, but let your boundless mercy save us through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Well, we are here tonight to talk about not only what Lutherans for Life does as an organization, but how you as individuals, as life teams, as life chapters, as congregations, as people who are concerned about life issues and the sharing of the gospel to aid and support and equip others in those life issues. We are here to talk about something that you can do to support us. And I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully, all right. Let's get this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. All right. Here's our webpage, lutheransforlife.org. And as you come to the homepage, you can see that right on there. Everybody seen this? Thumbs up? Okay. We have the Step Up for Life registration. And when you click on that, it takes you to our Step Up for Life registration page. This is where we want everybody to be in the next few weeks, starting May 8th, which was Mother's Day, the day before Mother's Day, actually, and going all the way through July 5th, the day after our 4th of July celebration in our nation. You have the opportunity to come on board and support Lutherans for Life through this Step Up for Life campaign. I'm going to try to move this out of the way here. As you go through this page, if you have not already registered, you just use this and click right here to get registered. And we're going to do that in just a little bit. But if you scroll all the way down, you'll see other information about the Step Up for Life campaign, which we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. We're going to talk about the motivation. We're going to talk about how this campaign will involve youth. We're also going to speak with one particular chapter who is using this campaign in a special way. We're going to hear a little bit from them, and then we're going to ask you as individual chapters, teams, and team members to tell a little bit about your own stories about how this campaign is going to go in your life. So here's the information. If you haven't already ordered it, the Step Up for Life t-shirt is available here. I ordered mine just yesterday, and it does include shipping and handling. As you can see, here's the design. And I would imagine some of our folks out there might be even wearing that t-shirt. So if you are tonight, when you have an opportunity and you're on screen, show us what that looks like on. But you order here, that's an excellent link that'll take you right to it. It's a very simple process. You'll put in your credit card, your information, your address, and one of our faithful For Life people from our national office will get that boxed up and sent out directly to your home. There is a video which we've shown at other times, and I'll let Virginia let me know later if she wants to show this video. We can decide to do that. And the other thing that I wanted to point out is the bulletin inserts and the posters and the links that are available. I'm going to give a click, for example. You can print these, save these, send them to your church secretaries, and they can be put into your bulletins. That's the bulletin insert with all the information. We have the posters in both blue and purple backgrounds that you can print out and have those put up on the bulletin boards in your churches. We have a conversion chart, which you'll see later. It's on our website as well for the Step Up for Life Charity Footprints website. But these conversion charts will help you engage whatever activity, walking, rolling, strolling, jogging, golfing, playing sports, lawn mowing, hiking, scuba diving, scrubbing your floors, swimming, vacuuming, washing your cars and trucks, all sorts of things, whatever you want to come up with to do activities and engage. This fitness conversion chart will give you something to think about on how you can convert those times into steps. There is a device integration guide, which will help you go through how to set up using the Charity Footprint portal, whatever types of devices that you currently use. You don't have to go out and purchase new devices. If you have them, great. You can integrate them. If you don't have them, you're not required to go out and purchase anything new unless you want to. Nobody's going to tell you you can't buy something new. And then you can set things up using this integration guide. I myself have an iPhone, and this afternoon, as I registered, I hooked up my heart activities, my health activities by this heart onto my iPhone. I downloaded an application through Charity Footprints that's on the App Store and signed in using the same registration that I use for my Charity Footprints team. And it automatically connected, and it started showing up on both the website and my iPhone on the app at the same time. So if you just follow some of these guides, I think you'll have no problem going through it. They're all there. If you do have any questions, that's what our office is all about. We can answer those questions for you. And at the bottom, there's also a Step Up for Life frequently asked questions page that has recently been added. How to register, how to find the registration page, how to put in types of donations. All of this is going to be explained in great detail here. And I'm going to allow Virginia and others to tell more about it as well. So that's the initial page on how to do it. Here's what it's going to look like once you get it set up. Once you register and click to the register, you'll go to a page that is run by Charity Footprints. It's a website that's set up for our Step Up for Life event. And it's going to have the same logos and details. It's going to have the same hashtag, You Are Indispensable, which is a part of our Life Week 2020, our Life Sunday theme. Here's a place that if you haven't registered, again, you can click the registration. You can make donations directly here. You can order your t-shirts again here. Again, the conversion chart is available on the homepage of this. And you'll see current activity, where we are in our fitness goal and our fundraising goal. And I think, as you can see, we're probably going to have to upgrade our targeted fitness goal as an organization. We've already exceeded it by a very high percentage. But our fundraising goal, this is targeted at $30,000. And you can see we're nearly 20% in with just a few days of activity. Congratulations, everybody. Give yourselves a hand. Wonderful job. And this is our tote board, so to speak. And you can go back to this on a regular basis, seeing where we are in the progress towards our goals. And we hope, actually, we would love to see the fundraising goal exceeded by 1,830%. So can you make that happen, folks? That's where we really need to see this happen. I'm sure that you all want to continue to lose weight and do the steps and increase your health. For our organization, that is wonderful as well, because we get to see your bright, shining faces for a longer period of time. But most importantly, for us as a continuing organization to share that gospel motivated voice, we need to keep those fundraising dollars coming. As you go down the page, you'll see that there is a wonderful development of a map of all of those who are participating. And it's not a geographical map, but it's a footprints around the United States. And you can click on each person, each one of these lists as you go through, and it'll tell you where they are on the leaderboard, how many laps they're making, how many steps they've accomplished, If they've loaded a picture, you can see a little picture of them, and you'll be able to see where your friends are in terms of their progress in this Step Up for Life campaign. And you'll be able to see yourself eventually here. I had to look for myself. There I am. Again, just starting out, but I got myself on the map this afternoon. If you have questions, again, how it works, these kind of questions are at the bottom. How to register, how to set up your device. You can share stories and raise funds, and you can track your workouts. And then again, joining the campaign, the videos. If you want to know more about Lutherans for Life, if you're new to the organization, or if you're sharing this with others, you can make sure you tell them how they can click on this, and they can hear a little bit more about the story of Lutherans for Life. It's a very brief. What I shared with you earlier is a part of that. Gospel-motivated voices for life, dealing with the sanctity of life issues. Again, opportunity to register, and then the frequently asked questions from Charity Footprints. These are things about this organization and how it goes. Now, on the side, there is the box that helps people maneuver. From here, you can log in. You can go to the home page. You can go to the individual leaderboard. You can see everybody on this individual leaderboard, and this is going to change constantly. So we encourage folks to come back here often, see where you are, see how everybody else is doing in comparison. And this gauges both steps and dollars and footprints all along in these different categories. And this isn't really a contest, although many people are making it a contest. You can certainly make it a contest between your own team members or yourself to see where you go. Let's see if I can't get this opened again here. Hold on. Why is it not doing that? I'm gonna get off that because, all right, well, I'm having trouble getting, oh, here we go. All right. There is a team leaderboard, which is like the individual leaderboard, but gives you the names of the teams. St. Paul Clifty, congratulations, you're #1 right now. The Sunday Sisters, I like your team name. Team Pool, Rich in Health. The SID Advocates, we've got some SID folks on here, good for you. Solomonks are going well. You can see the CUW gals. And here's the new team I registered. We're down at the very bottom here, Omaha for Life. We're going to have to get going. There's a new feature, the scrapbook, which nobody has used yet. So I'm going to hope that Virginia will explain a little bit about what the scrapbook is and help us understand more of that. Here's the page where you can invite participants. You have to be logged in, so I'm going to do that in just a little bit. Log in so that you can see how that goes. You can invite donors, do the same thing, make a registration. All right, I'm going to go ahead and log in. It's already got my information in there since I've used it before. And a note from Virginia pops up. From here, you can make changes to your device. And I think this is important because when you first log on, 2,000 steps is going to be your default setup. And that can sometimes confuse folks, but here you can do things. You can edit your team, your fundraiser. This is once you've logged in and registered. So when I logged in, I went ahead and loaded a picture, and from here you can just upload a profile picture. It'll take you to your files, figure out wherever you want to put your picture in, and it will allow you to upload that. I changed my fundraising target myself to 1,000. It was initially just set with my initial donation, and I changed my campaign activity steps to 100,000. And then I was able to put in what my fundraising appeal is. So that is, as I send out an email to others that that I want to join my team, it will list this appeal, and you get to edit this for yourself. You can put in whatever you want. Mine says, support my For Life efforts and become healthier in the process. Lutherans for Life equips anyone to become a gospel-motivated voice for life. Check out our website. I put it in there. Please join my team with your donations. And after you put in all those changes, you just hit Save Details, and you have edited your goal. So your page will show you individually your picture if you put it there, or an icon. It'll have your name. It'll show any recent donations. It'll show your appeal, your progress, your steps. Again, I integrated my iPhone into it, and I haven't walked a whole lot today. I've been sitting behind the computer most of the day. And then it has the information about our cause. You can go to a team. Since I don't have anybody on my team, it's not going to show any additional names, but I put in our team name, Omaha for Life. You can edit that. You can do the same thing that you do individually. You can update a team picture. So I went to the internet and found a picture of Omaha, and it's a very pretty town, and it's great weather right now. So come and visit us. I'm only 1% towards my fitness goal and only 2% towards my fundraising goal. And if somebody else is on, they can join the team by clicking there. If you are creating a team, this is where you would go, and it will give you the opportunity to put in a name, start saving it, and going through the process. I'm not going to do that because it does take time. And then when it comes to your activities and workouts, here is where you have the opportunity to log things yourself. And earlier we talked about the conversion charts, about how they give you guidelines, but they aren't necessarily the exact thing. So this is not something that we're policing. We want you to just do this on your own. It's an honor system, but here you can put in what activities you have. And you can see that this came from my Apple device, but you can add a new activity and just go through and put what it was. What did you do? Did you do steps? Did you do miles? Enter the workout amount, the start date and time, the end date and time, submit the activity. So you don't have to have something that integrates. You can do this on your own, and just on your honor system, just put in what is your activity and get as close as you can. It doesn't have to be accurate, doesn't have to be perfect. We're just looking for this input as you go through, and whatever you're doing is going to be not only getting you healthier, but also raising that awareness of Lutherans for Life in your life as you do it, and for the benefit of others. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to give the opportunity. I want to introduce to you our regional director of Minnesota, and she also wears the hat for Lutherans for Life as the conference director and organizer, Virginia Flo. And Virginia, welcome to tonight's For Life Live. You are one of the lead. In fact, it is your idea to start the Step Up for Life, and I would love to hear from you how you came up with the idea. What were some of the thoughts and the goals that you had with it, and just the inspiration behind the entire Step Up for Life?
Well, thank you. This is such an unusual thing that Lutherans for Life is doing. Or I shouldn't say it's unusual, because we often ask for money, right? We just are doing it in a unique way this time. And we hope that you're going to have fun doing it, because that's what it's all about. It isn't a weight loss program, as Pastor Duncan said, but it is a fitness program and a fundraiser program. So if you happen to lose weight in the process, that would be terrific. But if you need to, but it's an exciting way. So the motivation is this. as we all sat around last year and were locked in our homes and we couldn't go out and do things till finally we were allowed to go out and walk around the block or do something in our backyard, it occurred to me as I was watching people finally just having so much fun getting out and walking. I live in Minnesota, and I don't know all your different states where you live, but we had a lot of restrictions here. And we're just now, for the first time, some of those are being lifted. So, praise the Lord for that. But we had people that were organizing prayer walks and walks with their families, because we weren't allowed to go with other people. You had to only go with your families if you were going to take a walk. So it just occurred to me that we need to do something that gathers people together and gets them to be in their communities. And the people that were doing prayer walks were being encouraged to, as they walk through their community, to stop at the different businesses and pray for them, because businesses were hurting and still are. And so if you want to include that in your walk, it's kind of a great thought to be able to do it. It just, as fate would have it, as conference director, I get a lot of communication from a lot of people, and the folks at Charity Footprints were in constant communication this last winter. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe there's something that we could do here. Lutherans for Life, obviously, as everyone else, as a nonprofit organization, always looks for ways that we can raise funds. But if we're going to raise funds and we could have fun doing it, why not? And so that was the concept here, that we could incorporate, a few goals that would work together. There's so many things about, what we're trying to do here. I was asked a question yesterday, and that was that, I think it was that big chat conversation. If you didn't see that, it's in there when you go online. Someone said to me, well, I see that there's steps being tracked. I see that there's donations being tracked, but what's a footprint? They wanted to know how to raise their footprints. And just so you know, in this particular program, the combination of walking or any sort of activity and the financial donations turn into what's called a footprint. There's a formula that's used in the tool that we've got that calculates both. There's a portion of it that goes to the steps. I believe it takes quite a few more steps to increase the footprint than if you, give a donation that helps it to get it up quite a bit. And by the way, I noticed that you must have had your site open for a little while, because I think you're $100 off on the giving. It's just amazing. Jerry and I have the privilege, Jerry Richard, of seeing the emails come in when people register and when they give donations, and we see the numbers, and it's just amazing. I mean, we've only done this for a week, and we've got 19 teams, I believe. We've got over 150 people signed up, and we've raised very close. We're $7 away from $6,000, and our goal is 30,000. And we think it's very possible by July 5th to be able to attain that goal. We'll probably have to put a little bit more emphasis on the financial part of it, because people are registering a lot. I mean, we have teams registering constantly, and thank you for organizing some of those. I know some of you people have probably been doing that. The other thing that I think is what we wanted to do, and I think hopefully we're going to accomplish this with the Lord's help, is that we want this to be a personal walk for life. We had a lot of our walks for life in January were canceled this year because of the pandemic, and people were not able to walk at their capitals or go to Washington, D.C. for that matter, and have that walk. And so we thought, well, if we have T-shirts or people make their own signs, you can walk through your community and have your own personal walk for life. And so as we promote life during that process, as an individual or as a group, what a wonderful way to be a witness for life, to be able to, go out of our homes and go do that. The other thing that I think is important, and Pastor Duncan mentioned the conversion chart, which is on the front page. It's also on that page, that website page within our website, Lutherans for Life. That was put together so that it converts activities to steps. So you can do an activity for, in that particular case, a conversion chart measures it for every 30 minutes. But if you look through that, and he mentioned a few of the items, there's some interesting items on there. We didn't want this just to be a walk for life. You can, if you're, I might do this sometime during the summer when I'm tired of walking, find your favorite rocking chair and rock for a half hour. And that activity can be measured and put into, it'll convert it to steps. And you'll find that on the conversion chart. We wanted it to be available for people that are disabled. And so there's a portion in there that talks about rolling. So if you're going to roll for your wheelchair, or you're going to push somebody, whatever it may be for, that period, whatever time it is, however many half hours you did, you can convert that to steps on the conversion chart. It's really easy to do. It's already converted for you. If you're washing your car, or you're vacuuming your house, or you're doing gardening, Diane, you can track that. And you can track that as steps. It's an honor system, as Pastor Duncan mentioned, because we're not giving out awards for how many miles you walk. We're doing it to compete amongst ourselves and to give us some excitement and some incentive to keep this project going. And as I said, if you get a little behind, the best way to catch up is to give a few extra dollars to the donation, and it catches you up quickly. So you can try that on your own time and figure that out. People, we're not asking for anyone to give more than they can afford or anything of that sort, but we hope, if you can, that you'll contribute more than just the registration fee, and make this really into a fun campaign. If we've almost hit $6,000, we're $7 off, and we're basically just a week and a couple of days into this. We very much have the possibility, we should be able to hit our $30,000 goal. But whatever the Lord provides, that's what we'll take. And don't forget, if you don't have a device, you can enter things manually, especially if you're doing events that are not walking. The device works great for walking. It's the issue of, if I'm going to rock, that's not going to be on my device. So I'm going to then enter it manually. We don't want people to have to make a major investment to participate. If you get your teams going, it'll be exciting, because we've got some people that have said that they're organizing. People at their church are going to walk every Wednesday. And so they're the Wednesday group, and they're going to go out regularly, get together and walk for a period of time. And they're just going to make a weekly thing out of it. That's why we didn't make it just for a day. We want you to be creative in how you go about doing this. If you want to do it yourself and you don't have a team, that's okay. You're only competing against yourself. If you want to get a team together and you want to organize it so they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, that's fine. You want to organize something for a day or a week, or that's fine too. You do what you want to do. It's your program, and we want you to have fun doing it. So as far as things like the scrapbook, I know that you asked me, that's a brand new thing that was just put into place yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever. You can take pictures while you're out there, and you can upload them to the system, and it'll appear in your scrapbook. And then you can share them with the team. We would love if you would share pictures if you're out walking or you've got your team out walking. We'd love to put those out on our Lutherans for Life Facebook page. We do have Facebook ads out there that people will be seeing. I don't honestly know everybody that's registered of these 100 and almost 60 people, if they're all, members of Lutherans for Life. They just may be people that see the cause and want to help. So let's see, what else can I tell you? I think maybe I should turn this over to some of our team members here, because we've had a number of people participate, and a number of them are on the call tonight. I mentioned Jerry Richard. Michelle Bauman is on the call. She's helped with that. Barbara Geistfeld is on our team, and of course, Pastor Duncan is. So maybe I'm going to turn it over maybe to Michelle and let her chat a little bit. Michelle was very instrumental in designing our the theme art, and she had a student work with the t-shirts, Tell us a little bit about that, Michelle, and what your thoughts are.
Sure. Thanks very much. So the t-shirt design was actually designed by one of my former students, but she is a sophomore, just ending her sophomore year at Concordia, Chicago. She's active in her life team and was very gifted and volunteered to do the artwork for us. So she did a great job, and we hope that you will purchase a t-shirt and show off her artwork. It's a great opportunity to get youth involved in general. You know, especially if you make it a competition for between youth, a lot of times teams will get together and kind of be energized by that. So I know that it's coming to the close of the year. And so this might be one of those activities that could be done as an outdoor field day. You might encourage the schools that you're connected to, or maybe the churches you're connected to have competing teams, but the schools definitely between classrooms and just to see, again, how much the students can walk. Now, you do have to be 13 or older to register. So that doesn't mean that younger kids can't participate. It just means that a parent needs to register in their stead. And register for them. So you can get youth involved. This is a great way to bring them in and to get them connected with your life work. Our church is doing our church is the St. Paul Clifty church. And our goal is to get as many people involved as possible. And so, you know, that's kind of the first step that we've taken is, I don't know if your church has a Facebook page, but if it does, it's a great place to, if you start a team, or you can even just use our materials. But what I did, I started the St. Paul Clifty team and placed it on our Facebook page and said, y'all come, please join me in supporting life. And so you can, you know, do kind of a blanket announcement, but actually what I found is that personal invitations are even more receptive. So you probably know people at your church who wear Fitbits or other devices. That's a great conversation starter. Hey, I noticed you have a Fitbit on. Are you interested in being on my team for Step Up for Life? Even if they don't have a Fitbit, just talking to people and saying, hey, I don't know if you've heard about the program, but I'd love to have you on my team. And again, any personalization that you can make will likely reap greater rewards than just a blanket statement. So yeah, just a few tips as to how to maybe get people involved and participate on your team. So what I'll do, yeah, go ahead.
So there's a question in the chat about how does one join an existing team? Do you want to answer that?
Sure. So when you register, you're asked if you want to start a team or join a team. If you want to join a team, you just choose the team, and there at the bottom of the screen it will say join this team. I'm guessing that there isn't a single team that will be upset if you join their team. You're welcome to join St. Paul Clifty, just putting it out there. But I'm sure all the other teams would love to have you as well. So there is, as you're registering, you do have that option. And you can scroll through those teams and join one, or you can become the administrator of your own team.
So if you're advertising your team, be sure to tell people what your team name is. So when they register, they can find you. Otherwise, so that's what you need to do, Ron. If you're going to go in, you can look up all the different team names. Just make sure you tell people what the team name is. So you can, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Michelle, but
that's okay.
So if you send out in your Facebook the link to the registration site, then you don't have to go in and type in all the different names of people you want to invite. Or you can do that if you've got a group of people you can type in their email addresses right on the site and register and send them an email.
While we're on this, since Ronnie did ask that question, Ronnie, is there a particular thing that you're having struggle with on this registration here?
Yeah, so we started a we started a team at our church, and I announced it on Sunday. A couple of us had kind of the person who's running it for our congregation set it up last week. And then after I made the announcement, one of the members of our life team came up to me at the end of the announcement part and said that she was having trouble getting signed up onto our team. And I don't know all the particulars that of the issues that she was running up against. So that's why I thought I would ask.
Yeah, if you can find out issues, if they haven't been resolved, you can just email me if you want to do that, and vflow@lutheransforlife.org, and I'll be happy to get into it and figure out what's going on.
Thank you.
Okay, Michelle, sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, one of the things that I think the easiest way to do it is just share your announcement to your own personal Facebook page and then copy that onto your, your church page. It's the same thing, unless so there'll be two announcements that you send out. One is for donations, and one is to sign up for your team. So you might put both of them on your Facebook page, and just make two separate ones.
So there's two different ways to register. One is to go to our Lutherans for Life site, as Pastor Duncan explained, and on that home page, that little purple bar across the bottom, click it, it'll take you to the other page, which tells you where you can link to go register. You can also go directly to Charity Footprint /Step Up for Life, and you can give them that link, and that will get them right there too.
Michelle, when it comes to youth, what are you finding that the youth like about this sort of stuff? And is this something that they're easily motivated by to get involved in this?
Well, the things that youth have been saying is, wow, this is exciting. I'd love to get involved, just with the walk in general. I mean, anything that you're going to do that involves activity, you're going to have your youth more excited. I know I talked to just some youth at my church this last Sunday and encouraged them to get involved and join the team. And so they're kind of they're thinking about it. They haven't joined yet, but they're kind of excited that, again, somebody noticed they're wearing a Fitbit and that they might be part of the team. So college students, I know there's been a couple of college students that have talked to me and said, oh, I'm definitely getting involved, and I'm going to invite this person because he's a runner and this person because he does this. And so they're using it as a way to connect with their peers who are maybe more athletic. And yet, again, they get a chance to introduce them to Y for Life in maybe a less confrontational way, and give them just some basic information, get them interested in the possibility of getting involved, and then, bring them in and share more information with them on different activities. So yeah, I think when it came out, we had a lot of graduations going on. So there aren't a huge number of groups that involve youth right now, but I anticipate hopefully that will come about in June. So.
Well, and you mentioned something, and I know Virginia mentioned this as well. And I think it's important that we continue to emphasize this. Yes, personal health and your witness with your personal health is an important part of who you are as a spiritual being whom God created and loves and wants to care for your body. But in addition to the personal health goals and caring for your neighbor by helping them become active, we are hoping that this is going to be that conversation starter for people who have not heard of Lutherans for Life before. Obviously, this is going to be driven by people who are already active and engaged in Lutherans for Life, because this is how you're going to initially hear about it. But it's the ability of our life teams and our life chapters, our Y for Life, the individual pastors and members of these churches to reach out beyond the normal connections that we have at Lutherans for Life, and to share this information with them so that they can create these conversations, so that they can get them connected, so that they can get them active and have the conversations, but that we can hopefully encourage that new person to be a gospel motivated voice for life right along with us, right? Isn't that it?
It is. And one other thing to remember, when you register, there's two different prices, costs to register. One is $25 for an individual, and the other is it's $20 for a team. So if you know you're going to start a team, register at the $20 rate. Again, it's the honor system. It isn't the that extra registration. And of course, students all are registered. If you're registering as a student, a family, or a team, then it's $20. So we have, be honest with you, we have very few people that have registered at $25 because they aren't just going to be doing it alone. And even if you do register at 25, you can still start a team. Just thank you for the extra $5.
So Virginia, here's and I'm going to interrupt and before we move on to a couple other folks, because Diane has a question and it's directly related to this. She registered. Diane, do you want to ask the question? All right, I'll ask the question.
Okay, I
There you are.
I registered as an individual. Now I registered at $20 as an individual. Now I want to have a team. What do I do?
You're fine. You've already registered. Just start a team.
Okay, all right.
Does she have to switch it in the system?
No,
Does she have to go in and
nothing.
change
She
it to a
doesn't-
team?
No, she doesn't have to do anything. Everyone's treated the same. It's the honor system. If someone, we don't honestly care. We're just happy that you're participating.
Well, and the reason that I asked that and is because if she is going to be advertising as a team, if she doesn't put in a team name, it's not going to show up, correct?
Well, she will need to create a team if she wants to advertise as a team. Yes.
Okay.
Just
All
create
right.
a team name, Diane. That's all you have to do.
So you just go back in and edit those settings and create your team name, and that should take care of it. And then you can continue forward as a team. Excellent.
Up
Michelle,
in
go ahead.
that pull down, drop down menu on the upper right corner has everything you need to know about the campaign. And there is a place to create a team there.
Michelle, did you want to say?
Was there another
something?
question? Did you say there was another question? I missed it. Okay, I'll continue then. We have had people say, and we did put some of this in emails that went out, but we didn't give it the detail. People said, well, what does Lutherans for Life do with their money? Well, that's a good question. And we have so many ways that we will use money, but we did because we were giving you a goal of 30,000. And then we said, well, we're going to do this in segments, 10,000, 20, 30. We're going to try to hit them and then keep going after we hit 10 and keep going after we hit 20 and then get to 30 and hopefully even more than 30. But we did, Barb Geistfeld, Dr. Geistfeld put together a list of what possible things would Lutherans for Life do with $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. I mean, we'd rather have 1 million, but we'll take those. And so Barb, you want to share some of that just to give them an idea?
Sure. Part of the goal was just what we've been saying. We want to bring this up, put it on our Facebook every so often, send around little reminders so that people can kind of keep up with us and know how much we're making. And it's not so much the number of the dollars as it is, again, what we can do with these dollars. We are a not-for-profit. Everything we get is from individuals and from churches, every single penny. And so everything that people give goes right directly into our ministry. How many of you are familiar with Life Date? How many of you get Life Date? Let's see your hands. Okay. Well, we can almost print one edition of Life Date with $10,000. It takes $12,500 to print one edition of Life Date, but that gets mailed to 40,000 homes and churches. 40,000 homes and churches for $12,500. One edition of Life Date. $10,000 can pay for 1 year's printing costs for the brochures that we have. Or if somebody else gives you $10,000, it also takes $10,000 to store them to warehouse them at Concordia per year. And with any other business, we've got office costs. $10,000 pays our computer software and licenses for 1 year. I mean, these numbers almost boggle my mind, really. Or 1 year of workers' comp and property insurance costs us $10,000. So every penny that we earn helps keep us alive and well. If we make $20,000, well, you know, once we've got the life date printed, it costs us about $20,000 a year to mail these 40,000 recipients, 5,000 per issue, 4 times a year. $20,000 to mail those life dates out. That's a lot of postage, but it's a lot of outreach. You know, 40,000 times 4, that's 160,000 of those little pamphlets running around the country. $20,000 would also pay for our postage for all the letters, correspondence, sponsor letters, thank you letters, all the things that we send out cost us $20,000 a year. And the other thing that's really important, you might have heard us talking about, we're expanding our telecommunications. I know the presidents heard this at our last meeting. We're trying to create more videos, more little blogs, more little posts in order to be able to reach people that have not been reached before. And that $20,000 is needed for 1 year of internet access, phone lines, and cell phones for our staff and for our office. But that means every time you email us, every time you call our number, especially our 800 number, that's where that money goes to. And the last thing is 30,000, and it looks like we're going to get there. But when we wrote this, we had no clue, and we still don't know. But $30,000 can pay for 1 national conference, the speakers, the airfare, the staff, hotel, all that stuff. $30,000 can pay for 1 national conference, or if we split it up, we might be able to pay for several of our regional conferences. It just takes a lot of money for Lutherans for Life to be the voice that we are all over the place, digitally, online, on the phone, in our print materials, all the stuff that we haul around with us when we do presentations. That's where the money goes. I don't have the 80%, and I'll share this with you as well. 80% of our entire annual budget goes for salaries and staff. But I remind you that our staff is our product. Our staff is who does all the talks. We go to all the churches, we go to all the schools, we go to all the LWML meetings, we go to pastors' conferences and this, that, and the other thing. Our staff is our product, and we are the voices. And so whatever we get goes right back into being gospel-motivated voices for life. So the more you walk, the more you roll, the more you garden, the more you vacuum your house, the more money we get and the more voices we can spend or shout. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. That is wonderful to update. And I think it is important that our organization, the people who are members of our front lines, hear the individual totals at times, because we would have no idea how much it costs for all these individual items, but you add them up and there's a big number. And we have 13, 14 people on our staff that helps this organization equip Lutherans all across the nation. In fact, reaches out across the world with this gospel-motivated voice for life. The articles, the emails, the For Life Live, the regional conferences, all of this activity costs not only human labor, but materials. It costs the money to put it all together. So it is wonderful that we have this opportunity to share all of this with you. And just like a telethon, we're going to give you an updated, drum roll please, we have hit our 20% mark since we have been here. I don't know what phone lines have been going because I have no phone lines in my home connected, but we have raised 6,013. So that is another $20 registration happened while we have been online here. Congratulations, everybody. We've hit that first section of a goal, and you can be happy for that. And if one of you registered here while you've been listening to us, thank you very much. All right. Barb,
Those
thank you,
emails, by the
Virginia.
way, those emails are such a joy to see when people sign up and we get to see the email come through saying another person another person registered, another person. You can participate in this without walking. If people just want to
Absolutely.
donate, they certainly can. And when you donate and you only donate, you don't have to pay a registration fee. The reason for the registration fee is because of using the systems to do all this tracking and monitoring, etc. But if someone just wants to give a donation, they can go right to that page, and if you go down underneath that registration, the words registration, you'll see something that says donation. And you can certainly just send a check to Lutherans for Life. We just ask that you put Step Up for Life in the memo box so we can track it as part of this campaign.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, members of our Step Up for Life team that has been organizing this. One that we didn't get to call on, that I'm just going to call on just briefly, just so she can say hi to us, is Jerry. Jerry, would you say hi?
Hi.
Jerry is very important for us because she is the coordinator and the one who connected very much of the Charity Footprints organization and made things work between our organization, all of our computer systems, and their organization. And she was very influential in that. She has the information and she answers a lot of the questions. And when some of the donations come in and we aren't exactly sure how to get them going at first, Jerry and others in the office are the ones who help get that done. So thank you, Jerry. I know you said, please don't call on me unless I have to. I had to call on you. So you can get me back later for that. I'm going to switch it just a little bit because I had a wonderful conversation yesterday with one of our Life Chapter leaders. And she told me about what her particular chapter in St. Charles County, Missouri, the St. Charles County Life Chapter is going to do. So I'm going to introduce Dolores de Simone. And Dolores, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to explain your idea. And I hope that this would be an inspiration for some of our other life teams and chapters out there for ways that they can also participate in the Step Up for Life campaign. Dolores, go ahead. Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
Here we go. Thank you. I did call Pastor Duncan yesterday because we had an idea, a couple of us, that we needed a little bit of help with. So our Life Chapter has been thinking about how we would engage with the Step Up for Life and just hadn't quite figured out what we do yet. And then we had the Pastor Schwab from our church that helped very much get our chapter set up. We have a kind of unique chapter in that we work with 13 churches, and we have monthly board meetings, and then we have a church contact at each one of those congregations. And it was his brainstorm with some other people to set up our chapter this way. And he and his wife have just been always super supportive of all life activities that we've done. And his wife died on Friday with a long battle, not a real long battle, but a battle with dementia. And so she passed away. And we were just thinking about it and thinking, wow, we would like to do some kind of memorial for her, or something to honor her life and her strong statement for life, hers and Pastor's. And then I thought, oh, maybe we could tie this into the Step Up for Life, and maybe we could use it as a kickoff for what our chapter might do. And I called another board member and asked if she thought I was out to lunch or whether these things could work. And she thought we should. So we had a couple ideas of, let's talk to this person and that person. And I said I would talk to Pastor Duncan and see if he would. We weren't sure how to word it and things like that. So him and I had a conversation. He was very helpful. And then he asked if I would join tonight to share a little bit about what we're thinking. So because a pastor and Sally are connected mostly with one congregation, which happens to be my congregation, our church, I think, will grab onto this real well. But as we've been talking about it, and we are having a meeting next Monday with our whole executive board, and we will brainstorm some more ideas, but we have a few more ideas of thinking about just offering people challenges of writing a check to step up for life. And we're thinking about asking them to be creative about choosing the number that they put on that, the amount they put on that check. Perhaps thanking God for the gift of your grandchildren or your children, perhaps thanking God for the gift of how long you've been a mother or a father, or adding some of those numbers together and coming up with some creative ideas. And then you don't have to think about, oh, I guess I'll write a check for $50, or maybe I'll write a check for $200. You don't have to choose a round number. You can choose a creative number. And we're thinking about asking them to write a little bit about why they did choose that number. So we're just at the beginning stages of it, but we are, and I already shared with Pastor Schwab that we are going to kick off this in honor of Sally. She wrote editorials for our local newspaper, and most of the time they were life affirming. She, her and Pastor were always at the life chain. Actually, 2 of their grandchildren won the essay contest for National Lutherans for Life over the years. So she passed off her writing ability to her grandchildren, and they've used it with Lutherans for Life. So we just feel like it would be a really fun way to kind of memorialize or honor her life and kick it off. So we're still in the brainstorming plan, but that's our thoughts.
So Dolores, as we talked yesterday, your organization has been very, very adept at using the baby bottle campaign. And the 13 churches have all participated in putting baby bottles out, collecting funds, and then reusing those baby bottles. But this time you were going to do something a little different, and you alluded to it, but tell us a little bit more about how you're doing the collection.
Yes, as we started thinking about it, we have raised funds before, and God has really blessed that. We have an adoption initiative through our chapter, and that was done by passing out the baby bottles and having them come back. And I feel like things that people can connect with simply always helps. And the baby bottle is always really wonderful to do because you can put change in it. You can, put any amount. You don't have to feel like I didn't write a big enough check or whatever. And we were like, what reciprocal are we going to use this time? We don't want to use baby bottles. And so a couple of us brainstormed for a minute, and I think we're going to develop an envelope that then we will distribute amongst the churches. And again, for Zion's, for ours, we will probably have a picture of Sally and talk a little bit about her life and how her life has been a statement for life, and how maybe offer people a challenge about what's going to be remembered about you for life, some kind of thoughts like that. And but anyway, we're still thinking about, somebody had the idea of, we will use shoe boxes or a boot to collect the envelopes in, or something like that. So the way we always do things is our board makes decisions about what we want to do, and then we present it to the 13 church contacts, one at each congregation, and then that church contact goes to their the staff at their church, obviously first and foremost the pastor, and says, do you want to get involved in this? Some churches will at certain times, certain projects say, oh, I think we just raised money, we're going to skip this one or something, and that's fine. But we always ask the church contact to go directly to their pastor and see if it's something they want to engage with. So we allow them to fine tune it at each, as we know, each church has their own politics and ways of accomplishing things. And so we always respect the church contact talking to the pastor and how they respond. But we're thinking about using an envelope that will have the information printed on it. And as I'm listening in tonight, this has been very helpful for me too. I didn't even think about, I'm so old school. I'm always thinking we have to collect the money like we do in baby bottles, cart it off to the bank, count it, then mail a check. But since they can just go right online and do this, I'm thinking that too. Of course, I'm gonna have to learn these things, but we'll figure out how to set up a team, and then we can publicize that in our literature, because many people, especially the younger people, like to just go, register, give them their credit card or whatever they do, and then it's done, where I like to write the check, keep track of it, and all that. So anyway, we'll think through that a little bit more too.
Well, and that is true. You will be able to put a team together, and your cohorts can decide how they could honor. It is Sally, isn't it?
Yeah.
That what she goes by? How they could honor Sally. Put that in the name somehow, and everybody will know that they're a part of Sally's team, or however you want to label it. That's a wonderful way to memorialize the life work of this individual, and to show that not only you care for her and her husband's ongoing work that they did, and respect the life that Sally was, and what she meant to you all, but it's a way to continue that work, because that's what I think that's one of the things you said. You think Sally, and certainly know that her husband, pastor there, would want that work to continue, right?
Very much, yes.
So can I just inject, Dolores, we had a church in Texas contact us, and they said they're going to run their own campaign. They asked us if we could supply the graphics, and so I'm sending them our Step Up for Life graphics so that they can, do some of their own production. If you need some help in that area, let me know. I can help you. The other thing I think is, if you come up with your unique way, and you want to, if we've got some unique stories on some of the outcomes here, let us know. We may want to publish that nationally somehow. That would be very interesting, I think.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Pastor Duncan was very helpful yesterday, and already forwarded me a lot of the information too, and said we had permission to use any of the wording or any of the graphics or any of that from that. So I'll take all of that to our meeting on Monday, and we'll look at that. And you guys are so helpful, and we appreciate that. So when we come across little challenges, we'll be calling one of you.
Because we definitely, the theme that we use, Step Up for Life, doesn't mean you have to walk. It means you take a stand for life.
Yes.
And that is a perfect way to tie into what you're trying to do.
Yes.
I would like to say something too to Dolores. You mentioned that we've been helpful, and you've learned a lot tonight. Well, I was frantically taking notes here while you were speaking, and I love the idea of the fancy number, the special number. I'm definitely going to incorporate that in my plea for people to join my team. Once I set up a team, I'm still dragging my feet here, but I guess I'm not too far behind Pastor Duncan, so I feel better. But anyway, you've given us the envelopes and the honor somebody, all that stuff was awesome, and I just thank you for that, because it's just so many new ideas floating around tonight, and that's just really special. Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent. I'm very appreciative, Dolores, of you being on and sharing your information and what your group has in mind to do. Thank you for taking that time to join us, and I appreciate that. I'm going to open it up. If there are some questions that any of you have, I see that we do have some state federation directors on. If there are things that that your state as a federation, if you have some challenges that you're going to be sharing with your life teams and chapters, tell us about that. How can we help you or meet the needs that you have to get this information out to others? If you're a member of another team somewhere, and you want to comment a little bit about this particular program, how it's hitting you, this is an opportunity. Please feel free. This is an open forum at this point. Go ahead and ask your questions.
Jeff, I'm going to have to leave. I don't want
Okay.
to just disappear off the video here, but thank you everybody so much for everything that you've shared tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing your teams on our list.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Barb, for your information that you shared. Diane had a question, whether we had said how many people had signed up. I believe
There's about 160 some signed up at this point. It's in that area. Of course, I've been here on Zoom for a while. We might have had a few more, but yes, it's around 160, and we've got 19 teams so far. You can actually go to the individual leaderboard and go down and count them all if you want, but technically that's about how many we've got.
very good. Lois had a question. She came late. Is there a time frame for this effort? And this does have a time frame. It goes from May 8th, a week ago, through July 5th. So this will all wrap up by July 5th. We'll have all of our totals. And like Cinderella, the website will disappear. And we'll all turn back into pumpkins on July 6th, because July 5th is our wrap-up date. So hopefully you'll be able to get your team going all by then.
Although I got to be honest with you, if $1 zillion are coming in on the 5th, we might just decide to leave it open for a few more days. But right now, that's the plan.
Okay, all right. So see, we get to learn. Virginia has the opportunity to pull that switch and make it last a little longer. If things are going really well, this could be, it may be something we never pull the switch on. No, I'm not saying.
Oh, no, we will pull the switch.
I'm not saying that.
It costs money. That was not on Barb's list, but
I'm sorry. We'll strike that from the public record, even though it is recorded. Michelle, go ahead. You wanted to share a little bit.
Yeah, so I know that maybe some of you don't have a fitness device. My husband doesn't, but I signed him up last night, and he goes, just do whatever you need to do. So in order to keep him from having to go in and record his steps every day or his activities every day, and certainly you can do that. But if you have an Android phone, you can download what's called Google Fit. And Google Fit works with this this system, and it's on your phone. And as soon as you turn your phone on, it starts counting your steps every day, and you can connect it to Step Up for Life, to the charity footprints. So I did some research and I looked at all the different apps, and almost all of them need a device, but Google Fit does not. And that's that like little green alien guy that you can see on there. I believe that's the connection, but if you just click on them, one of them will say Google Fit. So
I'm going to share a picture of my iPhone. I don't know if, can you all see that?
Mhm.
I have the app Charity Footprints, and all I did was go to the App Store and looked up Charity Footprints, and it's got that footprint symbol in a little purple background. And when you push it, instead of doing it there, it comes up now. I've signed in with the same thing that I signed in to register, and it comes up now with me, the same thing that I registered on the website, and everything will track. And automatically it will be putting in the things that my iPhone, with, if I'm carrying it when I go around to places, that's the only way it actually knows that. It doesn't connect to me any other way than when I carry it, which is almost all the time anyway. Especially with youth, they're chained to their hands these days. So, so you should be able to work those. If you have any troubles with the technology, please reach out to Michelle, to me, J. Duncan at Lutherans for Life, M. Bauman at lutheransforlife.org, V. Flo at Lutherans for Life, B. Geisfeld at Lutherans for Life. Any of us will try to follow up your connections, and we'll get with you. J. Richard at Lutherans for Life, and we will definitely try to find an answer for you. Okay.
There is no cost for the app too. If you want to use
There
the
is no
app,
cost
there
for
is
the
no
apps.
cost for that.
Yeah. Ronnie, ask your question because I think it's a great one.
Yeah, so how should we ask folks to make donations? Do they write checks via our life team and then we forward them to Lutherans for Life, or does everybody have to go online and do it through the Lutherans for Life website? What do you all suggest?
You can do it any way that works the best for you. If you want to give them the option of going online, if that's how they like to do things with their credit card, or if you want to collect checks and send them to our headquarters, that's fine.
Okay,
That's fine. Whatever works the best for you. This is such a flexible program.
awesome.
Not a problem at all.
If you
Awesome.
do collect checks and send them,
Jerry's raising her hand there, so.
Okay, go ahead,
She's a
Jerry.
tech person.
I was just going to note quickly that if you have somebody who wants to donate online but doesn't really want their name out there, they can select to have it as an anonymous gift towards your campaign also, if that makes them more comfortable.
Okay.
How does that work, Jerry? Is that a button you click on the Charity Footprints website?
Yep, if you're on the Charity Footprints website and you're giving to the campaign, it asks, there's a check box. Do you want this to be anonymous? And then it won't show your name on the screen.
Okay. I'm going to go to that just to make sure how I see that. So
You have to go through the whole process, Pastor. I don't think you want to do that, but it's definitely an option when you put in your card.
under the
information.
make a donation part.
Yes, yes, yes. You got to have your credit card to do it.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, okay. All right. Very good.
So the point is, you can just check the box and it will. I know, because I did it the other day and Jerry right away asked me who the anonymous giver was, and it was like, me. I wanted to try it and see if it works, but she sees everything. So I just want you to know that. Don't try to do anything different. But anyway, Ronnie, do what works best for you.
Awesome, thank you.
Now, if you do send checks in, though, if you would just put a note in it that said it's for Step Up for Life, it'll be
Okay.
helpful, because otherwise we just want to track what has generated, did this come from this promotion? That would be helpful for us.
And then we should just put in a note saying it's from our life team.
Yes, please do.
Okay. The other thing, just to, since people are throwing around our ideas, we were throwing around names for our team, and we decided to use the word steppers rather than things like road runners or exercises, because we thought it would be more inviting to people like me who are couch potatoes.
You can be rockers and rollers too, if you want.
Awesome.
Jeannie, I see that you're on. Do you have any stories or any life teams or chapters out in Kansas that you think are going to be participating in this? Diane, same question to you.
There we go. Now I got it unmuted. Well, this one new team that came about a couple years ago, they are, wow, I can't tell you how blessed I think we've been with that new team. And they are set in the center of Manhattan, which you know is K-State area, big university. And so the chapter leader is the wife of the gentleman who's a pastor, but also the circuit visitor of his whole circuit. So those two are part and parcel of the chapter, and there's so many good professional people at that chapter. I'm just amazed. They've even got an education committee led by one of the pastors from another part of the circuit, because their regional chapter is all the circuit chapters together, and then a contact maybe from most of them, and there's quite a few, 10 or 11. So it's just amazing that all through the COVID, even the early parts, they had service oriented, not events, no, because everything was closed. They found ways to do things to get to people that needed help. So they asked a few of their members, why don't we think about doing something like this? So when you read their report from the whole year and a half, And I put quite a few of their ideas they used on a newsletter, which I do every 2 months, to get other chapters an idea that you can still help people, even though you don't have use of, the church being open or being able to have a meeting in a church or a facility. That's not the point. The point is, what can you do to help other people? Older, and they did even things for the elderly as well. And I'd have to have the sheets here for you to even tell you all those ideas. But if you want a list of it, she just did an annual report for me, so I have it. If you want to, just contact me, and I'll be glad to scan and email it to you, because it gives a lot of other chapters ideas of what they can do.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it
Absolutely.
going.
Well, I think that you have your homework. Let's get them involved and get them setting up a team so that they can get on the board.
They are a busy couple, of course, being a pastor and pastor's wife, and I know she's probably involved in the LWML there as well. But she also meets with the students at the university. They have a group of Lutheran students there, so sometimes she comes and visits their meetings. The little old house across from the church, they bought it, and that's the youth house. So they have regular meetings. So this is another great thing, is she's able to connect with the youth in the area. So they had a, what was the one I just remembered recently? They were collecting items to give to an organization, and 11 students showed up. Some weren't even from the Lutheran church that they knew of in the area that they're at. So, I mean, kids heard about it and wanted to help. I mean, how great is that? So
Excellent.
they're very positive, and they're very lively, very energetic, and thinking through, what else can we do? What else can we do?
Well, let me give you a suggestion that when you reach out to that group, just make sure that they sign up under the Omaha for Life team. Okay?
Think so, huh? I know you're going to get all you can get, right, Pastor Jeff? You bet. Don't blame you.
All right. Thank you, Jeannie, for sharing that. Diane, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
Well, Dolores is from my state, so there you have it.
She is.
My church is going to have a team. We've all signed up individually, but other than that, I don't really know of anybody else.
There are some other Missouri teams, Diane, you'll be happy to know.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they've contacted us, so there's some excitement down there.
Good.
Well, we'll be able to see how this all wraps up. Kai, how are you doing up in Michigan?
My church had sort of the same situation that Dolores did. The one lady that was involved with Lutherans for Life died. I thought it was suddenly. She was 80 years old. I guess they all weren't so surprised as I was. I hadn't gotten to know her yet. And I suggested to the pastor's wife that we could get a team together, Team Billy. And I gave her a poster, and she was going to put it in the church bulletin, and I haven't seen anything. So I don't know if they decided not to, or it's just really kind of hard when you don't know anybody.
Well, this will be an excellent way for you to reach out and get to know some of those folks.
Yeah,
since you're
I've been talking to some of my friends back in Iowa about starting a team, so we're gonna see about that.
Excellent.
Can I have two different teams? Can I be on two different teams?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I get my Ohio team to compete against my Iowa team.
I have two teams. I have a team, my Lutherans for Life team, which is the Flow team, by the way. And then I have, my church has a team as well. So I have two teams.
Okay.
In fact, I'll just tell you quickly. So I don't have anybody but me on the Flow team at this point. And all of a sudden somebody's on my team. I'm like, who is this? Where did this come from? And it was a pastor that I met with up in Roseau, which is up by the Canadian border, about 3 years ago. And he registered and he put himself on my team. I'm like, well, isn't that fun? So use a name for your team that they can associate to you.
Okay.
Good luck with that, Kai. We
Thank
appreciate you being on, and glad that you're a part of our organizational effort. So thank you. It is 8:30. We're coming down to the end of our session. Before we finish, I want to challenge Joseph Meisner out there. Joe, how about a Lawyers for Life team? Joe, did you hear me? Well, we're gonna email Joe after this and see if we can't get a Lawyers for Life team going. And Robin, we'll look for something from the SID as well. You want to say anything about that? There you go.
Yeah. So Katrina Drennan, who is a pastor's wife and is on our team, built the team for us. And I joined tonight while we were discussing all of this. And another one of our team members said, "Oh, I keep meaning to do that. Thanks for the reminder." So Katrina says we're 7th out of 19 teams. So we're, I got with the wonderful technology that we have that people of our age don't always like so much, I'm able to multitask a little bit more than I probably should. But so I've been communicating in both arenas tonight. So.
All right, very good. Well, thank you all for joining tonight. This will be posted on our Lutherans for Life website in the next few days. So if you need to go back and look over it, or if you want to share this information with somebody else, you can send them the link to our archive page specifically for this, and then they can watch all the details of how they can also step up for life. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, all of those who participated. Thank you, Dolores, for being on and sharing what your team is going to do. We're going to sign off, and we'll hope to see you on June 1st, 7 p.m. Central, as Pastor Joseph Signori will talk about the procreation, the first commandment of God. Guys, have a good night. God bless.